It's like Bonnie's working from her mobile office again. I love it. Okay, guys, how do we do contacts? Let's maybe I'll wait till we get everybody else on there. I want to see how many contacts we got. Today, what I want to go over is a listing presentation, buyer presentation. I'm having a lot of people starting to get leads from door to door, but we're not closing them. What I'm seeing in the coaching calls. So I want to hit listing presentation, buyer presentation. I don't care what market is. If you're in a buyer's market, seller's market, want to go through that. And then I want to see value add. I want to see through these presentations what value you're giving back and why people should use you. Okay. So that's crazy important as you guys are winning these listings over, how you're presenting yourself and what you're doing to win every time. So volunteer wise, who wants to take off first? George is on mute.
Recording in progress.
I don't know what I'm volunteering for.
Okay, let's do it, George. So I want you to dive in. We're going to role play through a presentation where I'm ready to list my house, but I want you to win the listing presentation. I'm going to record it, and then we're going to go back through and just diagnose what's going on, what's happening with your presentation. Okay.
All right. Wait. So let me clear. What are we doing again? We're doing a live listing presentation.
Live listing presentation, and you're going to help show me why I need to use you as an agent.
Okay. So I just regular listing. I'm not doing any DTD2 or D2D.
Well, you found me. You set an appointment. I'm coming back. Right.
Okay.
You're coming back for the appointment, or you're coming in to sell the appointment because I told you yes. I want to sell my house and I'm interviewing agents.
All right, let me change my view really quick so I can focus on you. All right, so you can hear me?
Yep, I got you.
Okay, awesome. Okay. All right, Duane, thank you so much for inviting me over today. Before we start, I asked you a couple questions to better prepare for our meeting today. Is it okay if I ask you those just to clarify?
Sure.
Okay, great. You said you were moving to XYZ and you needed to be there by ABC. Is that correct?
Yep.
Okay. Is there anything else important about this move that I should know about before we continue?
Nope, not really. Just need to get this place sold.
Awesome. Now, Duane, can I get personal with you really quick?
Please.
Okay. Besides selling this home, you're not going through any kind of like hardships,
Nope.
like divorce, you're not delinquent or anything like that?
Nope, no issues.
Okay, so we just want to get you to the best state in the world. We want to get you from Utah to Florida, right?
Sure. Uh-huh.
Awesome. Okay, great. Now, Duane, let me ask you a question. When it comes to selling real estate, are you familiar with the passive and the active approach in regards to real estate?
No.
Okay. See, the passive approach is what pretty much 99% of the agents do. They'll put a home on the multiple listing, and as before, they put a sign on the yard, and they sit back and wait for the buyers to call them. Have you experienced that already?
Yeah, I've heard people doing that.
Okay. And see, we really don't take that approach. What we do is a little bit differently. What we do is we contact all the homeowners in the area, just like I met you today. I mean, have you had a lot of realtors knock on your door?
No, never.
Okay. So that's a different approach, an aggressive approach that we do. We allow anywhere between 200 to 300 of the surrounding homeowners, letting them know that your home is for sale and inviting them to view your property. And Duane, at the same time, what I do Monday through Friday from 8 to noon, 3 to 4 hours a day, I pound the phones. Have you heard of that term before?
No, pounding the phones. That sounds like you're beating on it like this, but I'm sure you're not. You're calling, right?
Practically. Or you ever had those people call you and say, hey, do you know who wants to buy ABC Main Street?
Yeah, I have. Uh-huh.
Yeah. Well, I'm one of those guys, Duane, and I do that literally. I talk anywhere between 30 to 40 people every single day about buying real estate.
Okay.
And Duane, let's be honest. What do you think a majority of those people are telling me when I call them randomly out of the blue?
No,
exactly. But Duane, I'm doing the same thing for another listing that I have 15 minutes away. And I'm calling those homeowners and asking the same thing I'm asking you. And I'm door knocking those same listings. And let's be honest again, what a majority of those people are telling me.
No.
Yeah. But Duane, all of a sudden I find one person that says, George, you know, I don't want to buy this property here at 123 Main Street, but my sister's looking to buy over here. And Duane, that cross-selling, that cross-marketing is going to get a qualified buyer to buy your home. I mean, you and I both know that there's a buyer out there for your home, right?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's my job to find them. I mean, that's what you expect your agent to do for you, isn't it?
Yeah. Yep.
Exactly. So Duane, not only do we do that, but on top of that, okay, I'm talking too much, but let's go ahead.
Let's just pause right there. We're 4 minutes into this. I want to go back and replay this because I want you guys to see. And George does a lot of listings, so it goes to show you that even going through it that way, you're still going to close listings. But I want to show you how we're going to take that to a whole new level with your listing presentation. Okay, so I just linked into the speaker here. Let's roll through this.
Much for inviting me over today. Before we start, I will ask you a couple questions that we have for our meeting today. Is it okay if I ask you those just to clarify?
Sure.
Okay, great. You said you were moving to XYZ and you needed to be there by ABC, is that correct?
Yep.
Okay, is there anything else important about this move that I should know about before we continue?
Nope, not really. Just need to get this place sold.
Awesome. Now, Duane, can I get personal with you really quick?
Please.
Okay, besides selling this home, you're not going through any kind of like hardships,
Nope.
like divorce, you're not delinquent or anything like that?
Nope, no issues.
Okay, so we just want to get you to the best state in the world. We want to get you from Utah to Florida, right?
Sure. Okay, I'm going to pause right there. If I was a seller and somebody came in there and said to me, are you going through a divorce? Are you going bankrupt? Right from the start, I mean, like, this dude is out of here. Get rid of this person. So how can we go through and say this a different way that's going to give value to you as the listing agent of why you need to sell it? And what do we need to do from there? What should be our first 5 questions that we ask?
Normally, what I'll do is I ask their timeline. You need to be here by this and you need to be here by then. You told me you had this experience, you'd had that experience. Is that true? Is there anything else that's important about the sale that I should know about? Great. You know, it's just, I'll be on, I'm giving myself an excuse. The nerves were kicking in.
Good. No, and you know what? Nerves kick in every time. And they do every time you get in a listing appointment as well. So practice makes perfect on these things. And that's why we do these. What is the number one thing that these guys are looking for in the sale of their house?
Price.
Price. Did we talk about price?
No.
Okay. Did we talk
Nope.
about anything that is going to bring the value of why I should be listening to George at this point? So the first thing that I'm going to do when I go in and sit, and I want to make this, I'm going to write this up here. Looks like I made it small, made it big, but we'll get this in document form that we can get out to you guys. I want another text box here. And I'll figure this out after. I'm just going to go here. First question I'm going to ask is, what's most important to you in the sale of your home? Why is that important?
To find out the motive of why they're selling their home or what they need out of it.
Okay. And they could go any direction at this point. You guys, I want them to go any direction, because if they're talking, they're giving me the direction they want to go in order for me to sell them. So, and we're going to go back and listen to Alex here, but for the most part, Alex is doing 90% of the talking. Or George is. Sorry, Alex, I'm throwing you under the bus.
No, it's Alex, not George.
90% of the talking here. So what's most important to you in the sale of your home? They're going to say timeline if it is. They're going to say money if it is. Okay. What do you feel like the best way is to accomplish that? Okay. What do you expect out of an agent? Why is that important? And what are they going to say? So you've got to get to the point where they're literally looking at this going, okay, let's walk through this. Then you got to get into value proposition. I want to keep going to where you're headed here.
Awesome. Okay, great. Now, Duane, let me ask you a question. When it comes to selling real estate, are you familiar with the passive and the active approach in regards to real estate?
No.
Okay. See, the passive approach is what pretty much.
Okay, passive approach or active approach? I'm going to switch this around. Have you interviewed other agents? Okay, what kind of marketing are you going to do? I don't know why this is jumping all over. It's because I'm giving you guys access or not, you know?
Yeah, I think it's because everybody's touching it. So
I don't even know where it all went. Anyway.
You asked what kind of marketing?
Yeah.
What was the question?
What kind of marketing do you feel like would work best for the sale of your house? How many agents, as part of their marketing, has talked about a door-to-door approach? Now, most listing agents, what does most listing agents do to sell your house? That's going to be one of my questions. Hope you guys are writing these down. And what is the answer to that? What are they going to say? Leonard, what's somebody going to tell you that most listing agents are going to do?
Probably just put it on the MLS.
Okay.
And put a sign in the yard.
Awesome. And how well do you think that's going to help you sell their house or sell your home?
It's gonna sell like any other home on the market.
Awesome. But you said earlier in your in the most that what you wanted most out of the sale of your house was what?
For it to be sold quickly and for a good price.
Great. So how many people have you seen knock on doors in your neighborhood?
You're the first.
Okay. Now, nationally, what do you think the percentage is of people that find buyers for your listing? As a real estate agent that listed, how often does the listing agent find the buyer for your home?
Oh, it's got to be pretty often, right?
You would think, because you're paying them a lot of money, right? The national average is 1%. 1% of the time, the listing agent finds the buyer. So just like what you said, Leonard, they're going to put a sign in the yard, go back, kick their feet up at the desk, and expect the house to sell. Okay. So they're not actively out seeking for buyers. They're letting other agents bring their money in there. So do you feel like it's worth $30,000 for them to click a button and put your listing online?
Not if that's all they're gonna do. I could sell it myself.
That's what most agents are doing. Okay. So what we do is we actively go out and find buyers for you. So I'm going to go through and knock your neighborhood. I'm going to talk to over 200 people. I'm saying the same things as Alex is, or I don't know why I keep going around. Well, same thing as what George is saying, but I'm doing it in a little bit different of technique. 40% of the times I will find a buyer from your neighborhood. Okay. Not only that, how many listing agents are reaching out to find buyers from your home other than door knocking? Did any of the agents that we talked to prior to talked about their marketing plan that doesn't involve social media or putting it on their websites?
No.
Okay.
Nothing besides social media.
And personally talk to 50 people plus a day about the sale of your house. How much more exposure are you getting?
Probably a lot.
How do you think that's going to affect the sale of your house?
It'll probably sell quicker.
Okay.
The more people that see it.
Right. I agree. Wesley, go ahead.
Hey, Duane, I wanted to backtrack just for a second. When you asked the question, have you interviewed other agents? What is the purpose of that question specifically? Like, where are you going with that one?
Well, you want to know if they've interviewed other agents. Why is that an advantage?
I guess because you know your competition.
I know my
Maybe.
competition,
Oh.
but I also know what my competition is doing. That way I can destroy them while I'm there. Okay. So it's more so, have
Oh.
you interviewed other agents? So when you talk to, who did you interview and how many other agents have you talked to? Have any of the other agents talked about a marketing plan where they will find the buyer for you? Rather than, they probably talked about listing your house, but how often do they talk about finding a buyer for you to be able to get you the most money out of your house?
Gotcha.
And what are they going to
Okay.
do? Did any of them talk to you about door knocking? Did any of them talk to you about cold calling around your neighborhood? Did any of them talk to you about a delayed open house? Did they talk to you about having a professional photographer? Most agents do this, this, and this. This is what I do different. Okay, so I want to compare and contrast, because if they haven't talked to another agent, then I'm just going to say generically another agent. But did Steve from Exit talk about this? Did Nancy from KW talk about this? Here's what I do standard to help my clients get more money than anything else. Nancy, go ahead.
Mhm.
So I came up against something like that when I went on a listing presentation with a FISBO, and their idea was, oh, I'm going to list with the neighborhood specialist because she's always sold every property that she's listed in a month.
Mhm.
So it's like in their mind, the perception is that she has like a bucket of buyers.
Right. No, and a lot of people try to perceive that. Now, Nancy, let me just ask you this. Is it more important to sell your house or to sell it for the most money?
Sell it for the most money.
Okay. Because as an outside person looking in, it's very easy to sell your home. I can sell 1,000% of the homes I list. It depends on what you're going to put into the listing to net the most money. So if you throw a listing up and it should sell for around 600, you list it for 625, how fast do you think it's going to sell?
It's not going to sell very fast if it's overpriced.
What if it's selling for 620 or 525 and it should sell for 600? How fast is it going to sell?
Going to sell extremely fast.
Okay. So until you look at what people are doing, you've got to figure out what's going behind that, because a lot of agents will underlist the properties so that it sells fast and they make a lot of money and it looks good in the neighborhood so they can get more listings. So it all goes back to what's most important to you. So other than price, what's most important to you in the sale of your house?
That it's sold in the time that we need it to be so that we can get to where we want to move to.
Okay. And what do you think the best way to accomplish that, netting you the most money and selling it in the correct time frame is?
Honestly, I don't know. We needed to have been sold a year ago.
So
We have a sign.
What would you expect out of a listing agent to do for you?
I expect them to sell the house. I expect them to aggressively market the house. I
Okay.
expect them to call people.
Have you met with other real estate agents?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. What did they say they were going to do to help you accomplish that?
One of them said they were going to put it in the New York Times, that they're going to put it in the Wall Street Journal, that, I mean, this is literally what she said, that she was going to put in the Wall Street Journal. She was going to put it in the New York Times. She was going to like put it in the Financial Times.
How do you feel like that's going to work? Have you ever gone to the New York Times to look for houses?
No.
Okay. So what do you feel like is going to be the best bang for your buck? So I can tell you what most agents, have you interviewed other agents?
A few.
Okay.
They all say the same thing.
Okay. So let me just ask you some of the things that most agents are doing versus what we're doing and see if you think it'll make a difference. How many agents have knocked on your door to talk to you about real estate?
None.
How many agents talk to you about finding the buyer for your home?
I mean, they talk about it from basically saying they'll put it on the MLS and that buyers come to them from other agents.
So what you're saying is they're just talking about selling your house, correct?
Yes.
So when you hire someone to sell your house, would you want them to actively look for buyers?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Because from what I'm hearing from you, you're saying that they're going to list it and put it on a website, and then they're going to expect another agent to bring a buyer there. Does that sound like they're actively looking for buyers for you?
No,
Okay, so nationally, 1% of listing agents actually find the buyer for you. Did you know that?
I didn't know it was that low. No.
So most agents, they really do exactly what you said. They'll put a sign in the yard. They're going to go and stick their feet up on the desk after, and they're going to click a button, and it's going to go on a bunch of different websites. So one thing you're going to see different about what I do is once I list your property, now it's my job to help you find a buyer. And the reason it's my job to help you find a buyer is because if I find a buyer and the other agents find a buyer, guess what? Then I create a bidding war. If you get in a bidding war, Nancy, how does that help you?
It gets me a lot of money.
Right? Is that
More
what you're
money.
paying for? Is that what you're paying for? Is so that you net the most out of your house?
Absolutely.
Okay. So let's go through this a little bit deeper. I'm going to go through, I'm going to knock all of the neighbors around your house. 40% of the time, I will find a buyer from within that neighborhood. Someone that has friends that make the same amount of money. Someone that knows someone that's renting in the neighborhood. Now, 20% of the time, I actually find the buyer for you. So that's 20 times what the national average is. Okay. Not only that, we're going to do a lot of other things that most agents don't. So we have a full team around us that is going to get on calls, and they're going to call and talk to 40 to 50 people around your area. We're going to get told no a lot, but guess what? We do find buyers 20% of the time. So I'm going to net you more money just through that. Let's talk about marketing as far as photography. What did the other agents say they were going to do as far as pictures?
They hire a professional photographer and get a videographer in, and they put like 50 photos, they said minimum.
Okay. How do you feel about 50 photos? What do you think that's going to do?
I think it's gonna get a lot of people looking through the photos. I mean, it's an incredible number of photos.
Right. Right. Now, if they've seen 50 photos of your house, do they think they need to come to see your house?
Probably not. They probably feel like they've seen it already.
So oftentimes agents put so many photos on that people don't have to really get to the house because they can find something they don't like about the house prior to going. Okay. And so they don't get inside your house. Now, really what sells a house? Nancy, have you ever gone and looked at homes?
Yes.
What do you feel like once you're inside that house?
I either like it or I don't.
Okay.
Like pretty much right away.
Is that what sells you is once you're inside the house?
Absolutely.
Now tell me about your house. If people were in your house, what things do you feel like they're going to love?
Love everything. Oh, my house is awesome.
So how important is it to get people inside your house?
It's very important. They have to come see it.
Okay, so I'm not going to list it with 50 pictures. I'm going to list it with about 10, and I'm going to pick the best 10 pictures. Now, if you look and you see 10 pictures you absolutely love about a house, are you going to want to go see it?
Yes.
We're going to get more people into your house. Or we're going to do it with proven methods like this to be able to do so. Yeah, let's pause there. I can keep going for days. How many questions am I asking?
Sounds like what I said.
It is. George, you were right on it. Do you guys see the difference as far as the delivery? And who am I trying to appeal to?
So
On every aspect that I'm hitting on things that the seller is going to tell me what I want them to tell me. I want to make you more money. I want to help you get more people into your house. I'm going to do this and the other agents aren't. I'm going to do this, this, and this. Okay. Kirk, go ahead.
And if there is no other agent that they've mentioned or anything like that, and it's just you, what do you do? Do you just, and what do you do in that situation? You just kind of go straight forward, or do you just still contrast yourself with the other people?
You always want to contrast yourself to other agents. Why? Because it makes you look better than what other agents are doing. And let's be honest, do all of these listing people that are listing houses, have they listed a house before? Most people have. Is there a stereotype of what happens for a listing agent? Yeah. Even if you don't know real estate, they're going to say, yeah, they're going to come put a sign in the yard. They're going to market it like crazy, and they're going to help me negotiate. They don't know anything else about what a listing agent does. That's why we've got to go in and educate them on how we're different than every other listing agent, whether they have a listing agent or they don't.
Well, they also think that you're just putting it online and that's it. So that it, that goes to your point that it does show your value.
You got it. And that's what you want to do. Because even if they don't have a listing agent, if they've not talked to other people, go win the listing. They don't need to talk to somebody else. In fact, oftentimes, if they haven't talked to other agents, I'm going to say, hey, you're welcome to call 10 other agents and invite them into your house, because I'm confident no one will do what I do. In fact, I'm so confident that no one will do what I do that I'll give you 100% money back guarantee in writing. And if I can't sell your listing doing exactly what I've told you to do, then you deserve to work with somebody else. Ma'am, sir, how many times do you think I've lost a listing? And you know what I get back every time? With that attitude and with that money back guarantee, of course you're not going to. No one cancels with you. It's like they don't. So they don't have a reason to even try other agents because they feel like right there, I'm already the best and no one's going to beat me. So what's our next step? That's usually what I get. What is our next step?
So
I hope-
Duane, are you anti-Matterport?
What's that?
Are you anti-Matterport? Do you rather not have Matterport?
Only if I have to do it to get the listing. How many Matterports have I done in my career? 2.
I think I've done every single one with Matterport.
So why
Ever
don't
since
I
it was
want to do
made.
Matterport? I don't want to do Matterport for 2 reasons. It costs me money and I don't need to spend the money to do it. And then 2, 90% of agents don't go look at it.
That's what I was asking, because it is a powerful message to say, hey, like how many if you put too many photos, they don't need to come and see the house. You put 10 photos. It's just Matterports. A lot of times I feel like people's perception is that you're putting more effort and more money into their listing. So they like to have the Matterport, it's like one of those features. But then if you have that kind of message and say, hey, listen, like people are not going to come see your place, then I think it could be powerful.
So you can twist it whatever way you want. Alex,
Mhm.
as you go through this, I had a client, in fact, I just did a Matterport, just took a listing this last week. And the main reason I did is they had 5 other agents and they were certain that California people are moving to Utah. And they wanted people from out of state to be able to see all their listings. And so as I heard what they told me they wanted, then I sold them on Matterport because I knew that would get me the listing. I was up against people that were going to do a 3.5% listing, 4% listing total.
I get you.
And I got a 6% listing, right? And it was based off a $300 Matterport. But they will tell you how to close them. Will I ever pitch Matterport? No. And if a competitor's pitching Matterport, guess what? I'm going to be different. I'm going to tell them don't do Matterport, and this is why. This is why you should go with me, because if you go with people that are using Matterport, this is what they're going to do. If I can go 3D and walk through your house and see every cupboard and where you hide your games and where your snacks are, why do I need to come look at your house? And emotionally, on the buy or sell of a house, where do people make that buying decision? It's right inside your front door when they start talking about putting the TV here and putting the couches over here and knocking out this back wall and extending, or the views from your deck. It's inside the house is when people buy the home, and then sell them that way. And then you can twist it around and say most agents do Matterport because they don't want to have to do other things than push a button. It's the lazy way to sell real estate. I just put the biggest marketing campaign out there, throw 50 pictures on there and throw Matterport video. And then I sit back and do nothing because I feel like my job's done. Is that really what you're paying an agent for? See how you can twist it whatever direction you want to twist it?
Yeah.
And the reason you twist it the direction you want is for your client. Make it to their advantage every time. And if you can do that, it's game over. There's no reason why they would go with somebody else because you're appealing to their needs. Go ahead, George.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I stole your line. I implemented it on my listing appointment the other day. And I was like, Mr. Seller, like we went through some listings. I was like, how many photos do you see on these listings? And he's like, well, 30, 40. I was like, I mean, have you ever gone on a date where you got everything all at once and you didn't have to go on that second date? He's like, yeah. I was like, what do you think people are going to do when they see 30, 40 pictures of your property? Do you think that's going to be an excuse for them not to come home, see your home because they've already seen everything they want? And they're like, yeah. I said, well, what we do is we only put about 10 photos of the best photos out there. And that it actually sold them on that. So he's like, that makes sense. Yeah. He was like, the last listing that we had, they just looked at the living room and they said they wanted to come to see the house because there was no master bedroom. I was like, exactly. That's what we want to do, Mr. Seller.
Awesome. My job is to get people into homes and turn it to a digital world. You know, in a digital world, in a digital market where people don't even call people anymore. It's by text. It's by this. Most people don't have to go to homes anymore when people put so many pictures. And when they do that, it hurts how much you can sell your home for. But switch it up to where they're talking about, and everybody will agree with you. They're going to tell you every time, yes, it is a digital world. We're moving to AI on everything, right? Replacing people. How does that help you sell your house? It doesn't. You want people inside your house. Okay. Okay, George, going back to you again.
That's okay. We learned.
It took too long. My Bluetooth turned off.
Can I ask you a question whenever you're ready?
Go ahead.
I was at a door actually today, this morning, and the person had an objection of he had family. He has like 4 or 5 people and friends and family that are realtors. So I used okay, do they door knock? And he goes, I don't know. I said, well, I'm here. I'm in front of you. I door knock. I'll find you. It's low inventory here. I don't know how it is in Utah, but right now in Toronto it's like low inventory. So
Okay, pause right there for a minute.
Yeah.
So immediately you started with door knocking.
Right.
Think about what's most important in the sale of a house. So there's a process you have to follow. And that's the crazy thing that I want you guys to see. It's not just the questions we ask. Through this coaching, I want to teach you about the processes that we have to follow to be able to win every listing, right? And that's going to start with, let's engage them on what's most important. Because if you say, hey, do they door knock? And he goes, I don't know. Does that add value?
No, not really.
Not yet. Not yet.
Not yet.
So what's the most important thing for you in the sale of your house?
Money.
Ethan's got it. He's holding up his fingers. Money. Okay. Do you
Well,
like
this
these
guy
guys? Do you like these guys, these friends and families that you know of enough that you would give them an extra $30,000?
okay, because this person was a renter and they were trying to find a place to buy.
Mm-hmm.
And so actually went pretty well because I spoke his language, so
Good.
I started speaking to him. Yeah, it was actually pretty good. So we talked for 40 minutes. Like
Now, if
we
it's-
ended up talking for 40
if it's
minutes.
a-
But then
If it's a buyer instead of a listing, I think you're okay starting out by.
yeah, that's what because
Sort of,
but
yes,
then
that changes
but
it.
what you said, I'm gonna use that because at the buyer I could say I can go and find you a better deal than the stuff that's on the market because I'm negotiating myself. So are they worth 30,000, 40,000? So I could actually use that. That's pretty good. Even at the buyer's end.
You
Yeah,
can
but I
use
think what you're
buyers.
saying, sorry, I think you just gave me the aha too, is like, no matter what we naturally want to say and do, we can't fall into temptation by boasting ourselves. We have to kind of like stick to that process of like, hey, I want to sell this guy. I'm going to reel him in. Hey, but what's the most important thing about the sale of the home for you? And then just lead that process and then kind of like brag of
That is a very powerful question.
So now that I know you're a buyer, Alex, the first thing I'm going to say in that scenario is if I could save you a bunch of money on the buy of this house, would that be important to you? Because you want to open up their mind of going, hey, whoa. Alex is telling me I can save money right now. I want to listen to what Alex is going to tell me. If George says, hey, I can get you more money, I want to hear why George is telling me he can get me more money. Do you see what I'm saying? So you've got to start with something that expands their mind out to help them think about this, to make them want to learn what you're going to do different than the 4 other agents they've talked to. If you just dive in with how you're going to do it, oftentimes that'll go out the other side because their mind's not prepared to receive the information. You've got to set beta questions that's going to cause their mind to start thinking about the why. What is he going to do? How is she going to do it? Tell me, show me. Because if you're not going to show me how you're going to do it, I don't believe you. But if you just dive in with your value proposition, oh, I knock doors, it will work, but it's not going to work as well as if you blow their mind. Just saying, hey, in a market right now where there's not a lot of inventory here in Toronto, if I could save you a bunch of money on the purchase of your house, would that be important to you? Have the other agents, some of the proven methods that we're doing right now in order to save you a ton of money. And if they haven't, guess what? You're already better.
Yeah, that's mind blowing. Actually, every time I get on these calls, I'm just like freaking, just mind blown. It's just very new to me,
right? So then you can go to the next
That's
question,
pretty
and
cool.
I'm gonna kind of guide you through your scenario. How much inventory is there here in Toronto right now?
Should I make up a number? Because I don't.
What would a buyer say? Is there a lot of homes on the market or very few homes on the market right now in Toronto?
I mean, there is, but because of like we have a lot of immigration and a lot of demand for houses, it is low, like low inventory.
Cool, great.
You know what I mean? So
if there's low inventory, notice how quick I'm going to be to hit another question. Do sellers have to negotiate with you to get you the best deal?
No.
They don't. They don't. How would it be if I was able to find someone that's ready to sell their house, but they haven't listed it yet? Do you think you'd have a better chance at negotiating at that point?
Yeah, absolutely.
How do you think that could affect the purchase of your
Sorry?
house? How do you think that could affect you rather than having 10 buyers putting in offers for me to be able to find this house that has 0 offers and say, I found a buyer for you and be able to get that home for you before it was even listed?
Well, save money, headache, anxiety, no anxiety, a lot of things.
Cool. How many agents have you talked to so far that's going to go out and find off-market deals for you in order to help you get the best price for you?
None. I haven't really talked to anybody that had that kind of proposition.
Cool. How many questions did we ask right there just to start that conversation?
6, 7.
Okay. Remember the presentation I gave last week when we just hurried randomly?
Right.
We were at like 30 questions and I was halfway through. I'm just barely getting started with Alex right here. We've asked 6 to 8 questions and that's the first start of the presentation. Now I'm ready to start selling you. Go ahead, George.
Hey, so in your model, so not model, but the way you present with your question base, which was great, because ideally what you said was in my presentation, but I'm doing most of the talking, right? And I do a lot of verbal pauses, verbal cues. So I make it as transactional or, relationship as I can, but the dialogue is just like blah, right?
Right.
So do you use a lot of verbal cues, verbal pauses as because no offense, because, I don't know what I don't know. When I hear you sometimes, it's like, you're just hitting them with question after question after question, which I know we're just training. I know we're training right now. And I know it's not like, I'm assuming it's not like that at the presentation. You're more like relaxed. You're using body language. Can you kind of like really go, like a quick 1-minute scenario of how and you did really well with Nancy, but I felt it was still kind of like bam, 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 bam. You were hitting her.
It is. And so I had someone reach out to me this last week. And they're like, how do you get to where they don't feel like you're interrogating them? It's your body language. Okay. It's not theirs. It's my body language to the point where I'm interacting with smiling. It's like, so tell me this, right? To where it's more of a conversational piece rather than, and it's the tone of your voice. It's how you raise the tone of your voice. It's how you bring it back down. It's excitement. It's slower. If you go monotone, and I can show you guys a role play I did with one of my agents, Alex, that's on YouTube, where he is the same voice all the way through. And I said, dude, you're interrogating them. I mean, you were at the police station and you're drilling them. You've got to change it up. So when you change up the tonality of your voice, it changes it from being an interrogator to making it conversational. And as you notice, Alex also talks. He's a talker. Okay. How many times was I trying to cut Alex off to give him another question? Right. And I will do that with my clients because I don't want you to run the stage with stuff that's not going to be closing you. And if you get running a tangent of, hey, let me tell you about this, this, and this, and this, and this, I want to cut you off because I am running the conversation. And when I run the conversation, I want you to see the benefits of why you need to use me. And it's got to be powerful, packed benefits that they're seeing in their mind. Because if he starts going off about Toronto and everything that's happening in Toronto, dude, you're preaching to the choir. I get you. But I don't want to hear all of that. I want to tell you why you need to use me in Toronto and why I'm going to save you money and what the benefits are of me versus other agents. But what happens if your client gets talking too much? Guess what? There's a window on your position of being there. If you take too long and let them do all the talking when it doesn't matter, after 15 minutes, you're like, well, I got to go because I've got this appointment. I've got food on the stove. I've got kids coming home. You've already outworn your welcome. And you couldn't do anything about it because you had Chatty Cathy going off. This is where we have to engage and take control of the conversation. But to answer your question, you will never feel like an interrogator if you're providing value and you're doing it with right tonality and having them engaged in the conversation.
And I
So
guess you use bridges, I guess. I'm sorry.
Yes. Yes. No, it's a process. It's a whole process. So bridges is exactly right. I'm jumping from here to here to here to here to here. And I know right where to start and where to end it. Right. And where to end it is when they're telling you, okay, what's the next step? But I don't care if you ask 40 questions, as long as you do it in the right way, you're going to get them right where they need to be. Okay. And George, you're 100% right. You're saying a lot of the right things. You're just doing all the talking. So it's going in here and out here every time. Well, listen, I want you guys to listen to this.
As before, they put a sign in the yard and they sit back and wait for the buyers to call them. Have you experienced that already?
Yeah, I've heard people doing that.
Okay. And see, we really don't take that approach. What we do.
So here's a question you ask. Have you experienced it already? If I wanted to be short with him, I could say yes or no. And guess who starts talking again? I went longer because I said, yeah, I've heard of people doing that. But really, it was a yes or no question. And then he takes off again.
Is a little bit differently. What we do is we contact all the homeowners in the area, just like I met you today. I mean, have you had a lot of realtors knock on your door?
No, never.
Okay. So that's a different approach, an aggressive approach that we do. We allow.
Okay, one yes or no question. Have you had anybody knock at your door? Nope. Great. Here I'm going again. Okay.
Anywhere between 200 to 300 of the surrounding homeowners, letting them know that your home is for sale and inviting them to view your property. And Duane, at the same time, what I do Monday through Friday from 8 to noon, 3 to 4 hours a day.
Where's our questions? You get me? So questions we could interject in there is, how important is exposure to your home? How many agents have you ever heard of that are going to call 30 people a day to expose your home? How many agents are going to come to your house and do a video walkthrough? Have you been on social media today? How many people are on social media? If I came through and did a Facebook Live and put it on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn, how much exposure more are you going to get than just listing it and putting it on the websites? There was 5 questions in a row that talk about exposure. So what George is trying to say here is, I'm exposing the crap out of your house. But he's taking 1.5 to 2 minutes to tell them about knocking and cold calling, when it's not syncing because we're not engaging them in the conversation, having them tell you. Right? You want to get to where they're telling you why it's beneficial. Keep going.
I pound the phones. Have you heard of that term before?
No. You know, pounding the phones, that sounds like you're beating on it like this, but I'm sure you're not. You're calling, right?
Practically, or you ever had those people call you and say, hey, you know who wants to buy ABC Main Street?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah, well, I'm one of those guys, Duane, and I do.
So still back to yes and no questions here, right? And if you look at, have you heard of someone pounding the phone? What closing question is that? And we're using a question up that really shouldn't be even in it at all.
I would have never have said that in the presentation.
You're good. Keep going.
Do that literally. I talk anywhere between 30 to 40 people every single day about buying real estate.
Okay.
And let's be honest. What do you think a majority of those people are telling me when I call them randomly out of the blue?
No.
No, exactly.
Does that help you? Hey, I'm doing something that doesn't work the majority of the time, but I'm still doing it. It shows
No,
you-
ideally, I use that for that no for the second no to show me that it just takes one buyer to, but anyways.
Okay. And how you could change it up is I would say, 20% of the time, I'm going to find a buyer through these efforts where the national average of real estate agents are doing less than 1%. So I'm 20 times better because I'm doing these. Now, is 20% a great number? No, I don't think it's a great number. And I look at doubling and tripling that number in the future. But for now, I'm still 20 times better than any other agent you're going to do because I'm putting forth the effort.
Good job. I like it.
Keep going.
But Duane, I'm doing the same thing for another listing that I have 15 minutes away. And I'm calling those homeowners and asking the same thing I'm asking you. And I'm door knocking those same listings. And let's be honest again, what are the majority of those people are telling me?
No.
Yeah. But Duane, all of a sudden I find one person that says, George, I don't want to buy this property here at 123 Main Street, but my sister is looking to buy over here. And Duane, that cross-selling, that cross-marketing is going to get a qualified buyer to buy your home. I mean, you and I both know that there's a buyer out there for your home, right?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. And it's my job to find them. I mean, that's what you expect your agent to do for you, isn't it?
Okay. Can we see the massive difference? And George sells a lot of real estate, you guys. I'm not picking on a rookie here. I'm not picking on someone that doesn't sell a lot of real estate. Think of it if you switched it around and we turned it into 30 questions that add value into them using you as an agent rather than yes and no's, and memorize those questions to the point that we can now take that and apply it in a listing presentation, the next one we go to. And whatever value they give me and wherever they're coming from, if you turn that into question, it gets them to tell you yes every time. There's no sell to this, you guys. It was funny because I was working with Nancy earlier today and she's like, I wanted you to shut up and just give me the paperwork. And that's where you want your clients is once you feel like you got them there, you want them to be like, okay, already, just give me the paperwork. I'm going to work with you. There's nobody better. That's where you want to get your clients. And it's not that hard to get them there. Nancy, go ahead.
So when going through the question-based selling as the way to do a listing presentation, what should be our thought process? Because you and I role play together and it just flowed so well, so easily that is that what I should model after, or should I be thinking start with particular questions and then just go through a series of, okay, we're going to talk about price, then we're going to talk about marketing, then we're going to talk about CMA, and then we're going to go from there.
Great question. So you guys, I make it look a lot really easy because I've done this so many times. And yes, I have my systems where I'm going to start. But it's not that easy. And that's why I tell you guys, I can't write you a script because you've got to listen to the client. You've got to listen to what they tell you where they want to start. So if they're telling you, I want to start here and here, then hit those points. Use questions to sell them on the things that they want to buy from. Okay. Then go back to my list of where I want to start and where I want to take them through. So it doesn't matter where I start. I'm going to hit certain features every time. We're going to talk about price. I'm going to talk about percentages. I'm going to talk about why I'm better. I'm going to talk about marketing every time in every listing. But if I start with what's most important to them and it's a phone call, it's customer service, guess what? I'm going to start with, have you ever had an agent give you paperwork with 100% money back guarantee? That's normally not going to be my starting point, but why am I going to start there? Because they just told me customer service. Do you see what I'm getting at, you guys? You've got to get to where you're listening to them and winning them from day one. The rest is going to be gravy on top of the potatoes. It is literally, you've got to listen to what they want first, because if not, if I start diving into marketing and they want customer service, how long do they want to listen to me? They don't. Their cool thing was customer service. And that's going to be, I'm always available. I've got staff that'll pick up your phone call at any time. I've got 100% money back guarantee. And this is why I can guarantee that. This is what I do different from a customer service standpoint. Then once I hit all those things, now I can go, hey, sweet. Now let me go with the rest of the things, because I just hit, a triple. I just need to get to home base now, and I only have to do this much more, and I win. Let me go plaster you with the rest of the stuff that I do different. Bonnie, go ahead.
Do you usually have the seller walk you through the property first and just kind of show you the home? Because I know sometimes, I know I've had one listing presentation when they said, oh my God, the other listing agent didn't even see the house and right away just gave me a price, a suggested list price.
So once again, you're going to take listings according to what your clients want to do. When I first show up to a property, and you're going to laugh, Bonnie, I don't even go to listing appointments anymore. So no, I don't see the house. I don't even go to their house. I close them on the phone. And I do it all through the question-based selling. Hey, what's most important? And walk them through that whole scenario. But if I'm going to the house, just say, hey, your home is beautiful. So tell me what you'd like to do first. You want to sit down and let's go through what I do different? Do you want to show me the house? What's most important for you? Do you feel like you have anything that's unique that would make your home stand out versus the others that I've looked at online? And if they're saying, oh yeah, and they will, but what that does is tell you, you've got to go walk through the house. In my mind, I'm literally going to find out what, and this is what every one of you guys need to be doing as agents. You've got to find out what is most important to your client and then fulfill that through your questions, right? So as soon as you walk in, if you're seeing they want to show you around the house, by all means, go walk through that house, right? Because that means you could win the listing from the other agent that didn't walk through the house because they didn't care. It's all done by finding out what's most important. And I want you to memorize this in your brain. Your clients will tell you how to sell them every time. 100% of the time, your clients will tell you how to close them. You just have to listen and ask the right questions, and they will walk you through exactly how to close them. Okay, Kurt, go ahead.
I had a guy I was talking to this last week, and he said he wanted to sell and move. And I was like, okay, well, great. And so at that point I said, like, well, I'm going to send you some homes. Why don't you send me some homes? I tried to kind of close that, but in my mind, I said, I guess I don't need to sell him anymore because he wants to. I don't have to convince him. And so then fast forward a few days, and then it just, as you might expect, nothing really happens. He just kind of ghosts me, doesn't really respond. And so is in that scenario where someone says that they do want to, do you just kind of keep going and just you just sell them as if they didn't want to? I mean, what's the best? And that's happened more than once where people say, yeah, I want to, but then clearly they're not wanting to as much as I'm wanting them to.
What's the number one question you should ask? As soon as someone says yes.
What's the most important thing?
Not yet. Not yet. Okay, because they start selling you as the agent. What's the number one thing we've got to figure out for them? If they're wanting to sell, what are they going to do?
Upgrade or downgrade?
Okay, they're going to buy, right?
Okay.
First thing I want to know is timeline, because if you're diving into this and they're thinking 6 months from now, and you start talking to them about seeing houses, are they ready?
Well, that's exactly what happened. He said they were looking. So I talked to his wife previously, and then I caught him on a follow-up visit, and he was there, and we just kind of talked in the stairwell, and he said, oh, about 6 months. And I asked why, and he said something that I didn't really understand. And so maybe that was my bad for not asking follow-up questions. But he said because his dad was moving in with them, and that's all his dad had left to live or something like that. And so in my mind, I thought, so you want to move after he passes or before he passes? Because he mentioned he wanted a place on the ground where a wheelchair could roll in. And so maybe that was just my mistake in not fully understanding his situation.
It paused right there though.
Okay.
He just told you, I want to buy a house, something to do with his dad. Does it
Mhm.
matter?
What?
Does it matter? Does he want to buy a house? That's all I really need to hear as a salesperson is I want to buy a house. Did you catch me? I could care less of when he wants to buy the house or why he wants to buy the house. I just heard from him he wants to buy the house.
Okay.
Now, sir, I know you were thinking 6 months. If I could help you save a grundle of money by doing it sooner, would you consider it? Or does
Mhm.
it have to be that 6 months? Notice I'm still hitting timeline.
Yeah.
What if they say no? I mean, if I could save money by doing it sooner and it would be better for me to do it sooner, then I would look at it. Do I have any pitch if they tell me, no, it's got to be 6 months. If it's not 6 months, I'm not moving. Do I have anything I can do with that client right now?
You can just
No.
try it over and over, but if he's pretty set on it, then you're probably waiting.
No, the answer is no. It's going to be 6 months, right? So you've got to find out the timeline before you can even get going. If they say, yes, I want to buy, I would buy now if it was beneficial to me and it was lucrative to me. What are they essentially telling you?
If they're saying they would do it,
Yeah, if I could save money right now, or if it's better for me to do it right now, what are they asking you to tell them?
that it is better right now.
Wow.
George, yes. How? So what you're doing is they're giving you permission to now teach them.
Uh-huh.
You see the ahas there? You've
Yeah.
got to get the person's mindset in the right place to be able to walk through the process. And if you don't go into timelines and you don't go into any of that and you just start telling them, oh, well, let's go look at houses or let's go into all this, we miss those steps. You've got to expand their mind into where it is their idea.
So you have to sell the people, even the ones who are wanting to buy, you still have to sell them.
Yes, the answer is yes.
Okay.
Because even though they want to do it, do they want to do it with you? Do they already have their own agenda set up? Do they already have in their own mind frame, mind what time they're going to do it, when they're going to do it? Yeah, they do. You just interrupted. Now you've got to prove to them why you are the person that needs to jump into that time frame and into that process and into all of those things to help close them.
Okay.
Okay. And you've got to open their mind into where they want to listen. Because if you don't provide something of value, guess what? You have no value. They have no reason to listen to you. And that could be why you're losing people right off, is you're not expanding their mind into something that says, hey, I've got to talk to Kurt. I've got to talk to Bonnie. They've got something that I can't get by myself. I want to listen to them as a professional. And how they get that is through those questions that gets their mind to start thinking. Okay.
Okay.
Wesley, go ahead.
Really quick on that last point you made. If someone is saying no to that saving money question or making you a ton of money, is it even worth it at all to pry a little bit? Because I know some of that are just reactants if they're just saying no.
Correct. I don't spend a lot of time with people that say no, because if they're not going to do something that's beneficial for them to do now, why are they even going to do it in a decent time frame? They're going to do it on their dead set time frame. So if I get to somebody and said, hey, if I could help you save a bunch of money, or if it's beneficial for you to do this sooner, and I can show you how this could benefit you by moving a little bit quicker, would you? And they say, no, I'm not going to do it. Awesome. So when's your time frame? You're dead set that 6 months is what it needs to be. So if it's 6 months, when would you need to potentially sell your house in order to have it go through? Do you know how many days on market? Notice how I'm now going to switch it and start working on the marketing side. Do you know how many days on market homes are at right now? So if it's 30 days on market, when would you really need to sell your house? You'd probably need to start marketing it 60 days before the listing, because they don't know these answers. That's why they're relying on a professional. And when you come in and provide value like that to them, they're more likely to use you. So if really you need to sell in 6 months, I would say you probably need to start marketing this in 4 months, because it's going to take 30 days to close as well.
Mhm.
And then start
And,
asking probing questions like that, that's going to go ahead and engage. Now, if we could list this a little bit higher and have it sit on the market a little bit longer, but someone gave you an extra $20,000, would that interest you? See how I'm coming around at a different angle that still try to pull in the listing? Would you be okay doing a 3-month listing and have it sit a little bit longer to help get you more money? Because I do some things that I think I could net you way more than most agents just by some of the things that I'm going to do extra, but it's going to take us a little bit longer to sell. And at the end of the day, if you can't get them to bite and just take that and go, then set up a follow-up method in which you can get back with them and take the listing.
really quick, if the most important thing to them, is someone else talking?
So that being said, exposure is huge.
Oh, someone's recorded me somewhere.
If you're friggin',
Oh,
if you listen-
I was just gonna say, if really quick, if their most important thing to them is commission, what's your next question to handle that? They say, I want someone at a low commission.
Cool. Let's talk about commissions. Tell me what you understand about commissions. How much is the typical real estate commission?
Well, it's about 6%.
Cool. Where does that 6% get divided up? How does that work?
I think 3% goes to you, 3% goes to the other agent.
Correct. You're spot on. So what happens when people start reducing their commissions? Because I'm sure you've heard of people that'll do a 4% or a 5% commission.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, you guys are pretty overpaid, so I mean, it doesn't cost you that much to market the property.
All depends on what you're doing. I agree. For a lot of agents, they don't market the property very well, and they don't do very much to help you net the most out of your house. So totally understand what you're saying. So out of a 3% listing commission, do you know where that goes?
No
Okay.
idea.
So 1% goes to the broker. They're in the brokerage. In fact, when your house sells, the check doesn't get cut to the agent. It goes to the brokerage, and they're going to take their percentage out of it first. Okay, so that's a
Okay.
non-negotiable. 1%'s gone. 1% goes to marketing if they're doing it at the right level. Have you talked to agents about what they're going to do to market your house?
Yeah, a few agents told me some things, but it shouldn't cost you $5,000.
You got it. With the way most agents are marketing, because most agents list on Realtor.com, Zillow, and the local MLS. And they just click a button, which doesn't cost them $5,000. You're spot on. Okay. The other one is 1% goes to the listing agent. So if the 1%'s gone to the brokerage and they have to cut, let's say they did a 4% listing, which means 2% is going to the other side. That leaves 1% left for the listing agent. Where are they going to cut? Do you think they're going to cut their own commission, or do you think they're going to cut marketing?
It'd probably be marketing, but again, I don't know what you could do that would cost $5,000.
Okay. Depends on where you're marketing. Where are most people looking at homes that are moving to Florida right now?
Probably out of state, high tax states like California, New York.
Okay. Do you think someone that's doing a 1% listing is marketing all of target marketing, California, New York, PA, all of these areas where it's gotten crazy expensive?
Probably not.
Okay. And if you marketed those areas, how much more do you think you could get out of your house?
Yeah, probably a lot more.
Right. And if they're taking a hit somewhere at a 4% listing and they do zero marketing, are you getting any exposure on that?
I'm guessing not.
You're spot on. Now, the other thing you get is others agents that will reduce their commission. And essentially what we're talking about here, Wesley, is these agents are struggling to negotiate their own commission when standard is 6%. Now, let me ask you, if you went into a job interview and they're offering you $20 an hour, but you turn and look at them and go, oh no, I'm okay taking 15. How many people do that?
I don't know anyone who does that.
People are doing it all day long when they come to meet your house if they're lowering their commissions. And if they're negotiating negative of what standard is and what they're worth, is that the person you want negotiating your house?
That's a good point. Probably not.
Because they're not even negotiating what puts food on their table And they're saying, hey, I'm below standard. I am not even average. I'm willing to do it for way less than average because that's what I'm worth. In reality, I should charge you 8% because I'm worth it, but I don't, because I know you're going to refer all of your friends and family and everybody else. And I'm going to get you that much more money for your house. What do you think about that, handling the commission?
Yeah, that's spot on. Sounds good.
Okay, George, go ahead.
When you did all your question base and whatnot, how do you transition to the pricing or the comp area? Now, that's one part. And then the second one, I guess, do you kind of like do it in your beginning dialogue that you gave the example, like say, hey, would you like the walkthrough example? I know Ben Kenny, he's like from your area. He's like, hey, besides price, is there anything else that we need to talk about today? He'll, do that kind of segue.
So as far as price of the house, I first question I'm going to ask is, what do you want to get out of your house? Okay, what do you want to list this house for? Because I want to know what their expectation is before I ever go and say, hey, guess what? I've got this CMA that I did for you, and it says your house is worth $650 when they're going to tell me I want to sell it for $725. Okay, so find out what their expectation is on the sale of their house. And I took 2 listings this last week, and both of them told me they wanted more than what the value was of their house. Both of them. It was awesome because as I went through the process of what I do, I said, I'll list your house wherever you want because I work for you. But in reality, that is going to be top of the market. And I don't think we're going to get that. And here's some of the things that I do that tells me that there's nothing that can be changed to sell your house other than price. Then I go through my marketing campaigns. I go through all the things that I do from photography and to make their listing perfect. It's like, if it doesn't move, we got 3 choices. I want you guys to memorize these as you go for listings. Okay. When we talk about price, number 1, I can pick your house up physically and we can move it to another location. Move it to the East Bench, move it to wherever houses are selling higher. Is that realistic? No, it's not. And they're going to tell you. Number 2, I can go in and we can remodel your whole house and get it to where the values come up to where they should be. Do most people want to dump all the money into a remodel to be able to get more out of their house? No. The last option is we can lower the price because I know with the marketing that I do, where I market it, how I market it, what we do between door knocking and cold calling and all these other things, there's nothing else it can be other than price. So that's how I eliminate everything down to price. So what I'm going to do for you, I'll list it wherever you want, but I'm going to call you every week, how many views we've got. You can look at the view count. We can look at how many showings we've gotten, and we can decide from there what we need to do on the price to get this thing to sell the highest amount. So I did have 2 listings this last week. Guess what? Both of them listed above where I told them. Guess what? Both of them had them sit. And both of my clients both said, I should have listened to you. It makes my price drop super easy. And it makes me the professional, right? And so then I drop it back down and I say, okay, let's see how many showings we get versus how many views we get. One of them had 19,000 views. Another one had 18,000 views. Still didn't get an offer. So we're dropping the price $15,000 and we'll get it down to where it needs to be in order to get it sold. But it makes me the professional every time, and they're going to listen to me every time.
I'm kind of slow. My mom always said I was not the sharpest tool in the shed. So is this something like you don't go over the comps at all? Like you just say?
Oftentimes, I won't even go over a CMA with them. Right? I will leave paperwork with them. But oftentimes I don't go line item per line item per line item, because then what you do is you get the value in use. I'm sure you guys have heard of that from real estate school. My house is better than theirs because I've got the back porch and this view. Then they start comparing and they're beating you up on why you didn't see the value in their house over these other houses you picked. Your comps suck. Mine's way better, right? I don't want to go over that. I'm going to say, hey, there was a house that sold here for this, another house that sold here for this. And in reality, I love your house and what features you have. You just need to market it correctly. What do you think that is the most important thing in getting exposure in your home? And then I'm going to turn it back onto them through questions. And they're going to tell you everything that they feel like getting the most exposure is. And then you just complete what you do that fulfills those links. And once you complete all those hoops, they have nothing else to do but tell you, yes, where do we sign? But no, to answer your question, in fact, I've even taken CMAs and stuck them in my back pocket, not even gave it to them at listings. If the numbers are way off, I took one listing where he wanted to list for 779 and my highest comp was 660. That's one I stuck in my back pocket. Because it would make me look like an absolute idiot, even though the comps are real and he's way out of the dark. And I took the listing anyway.
So it sounds like your belief is just get the listing.
Yes. I mean, isn't that what all of our beliefs are, is to go close a deal and
No,
make
it is.
right?
It is.
Wait,
You
so
don't-
Duane, sorry, go ahead, George.
No, go ahead, man. I'm sorry.
I was just saying, so you're just taking the listing at pretty much whatever they want and prepping them for the fact that they're probably gonna have to drop the price so that you're the
Educate.
expert.
Absolutely. I mean, take a listing every time, because what happens, Wesley, if you take a listing and you say, I'm gonna get you 300,000 out of this, but the next agent comes in and says, I'm gonna give you 4, and they go with the agent that says he's gonna give them 4, even though it's not realistic. Guess what? He got the listing and he made him sign a broker agreement, and it's his listing. Why in the world are we gonna do that? So be 100% transparent. And if someone says they're gonna get them 400,000, I'm gonna say they're smoking crack. But if you want to list it for $400,000, I'm telling you right now, there's no one better that's going to come close to getting you that price than me. And here's why. And I will list it wherever you want because I work for you. But the standard agent isn't even come close to getting you these numbers because they don't do a quarter of what I do different. Notice how I'm winning every listing that way rather than going in with my CMA and saying, nope, dude, if you want to list it for more than 320, what it's worth, I'm not taking this listing. Take every listing because you'll also pick up buyers off that listing. So our job as real estate agents is to have more clients than we know what to do with, because some of them are going to transact.
Do your clients ever ask you how much you think they should list their property for?
Yep. And I'm going to give them a high, low, and a mid.
Okay.
If you wanted to move fast, I would list it here. If you wanted to be average days on market, I would list it here. And if you're okay with it sitting on the market for a while, I would list it here, but it's going to sit for a while. We may have to bring a couple price reductions down to get it sold, but there's a chance I could get somebody to come in and buy it at that rate and you would make more money out of your house. So it all depends on your timeline. What do you think is going to work best for you? All right, guys, we got to wrap up. We already went 15 minutes over. Crazy, but fun. 2 takeaways from today. I want to pick on Taylor. Taylor, give me 2 takeaways.
I really liked how you said that 40% of the time you'll find buyers in the neighborhood and your clients will tell you how to sell them.
Cool. Doug, go ahead.
I think I really had it reiterated to me that you have to listen to what they're telling you is important to them and then you tailor your approach to address that first before anything else.
Right. Awesome. Good. Wesley or Walker. Let's go with Walker.
That it's a process. It's not a script, and that you're gonna have to figure that one out. And that in order to fulfill the right questions to ask, you have to listen to them and know what they want.
You got it, man. You got it. Okay. Tran has one last question. Tran, hit us with it.
It's not related to a question. Okay, it's my personal stuff. So I asked Jeremy already what he would do. Okay, so it's still not 100%, but soon I'm having a buyer buying around $22 million total. It's gonna be cash offer close soon, and I'm just asking Jeremy what he think if I can approaching my brokerage to ask for a raise for my commission for that one. I'm not sure what you think.
Let's talk off the line on that one and I'll help you. But
Okay.
Yeah, if they won't, you don't have paperwork signed, I would definitely be bouncing rather than giving a 30% split on a $22 million deal. Ouch.
40.
Okay. 40. Even worse. Okay.
Congratulations, Tran.
Thank you.
Let's talk offline. Let's get with Jeremy or myself and I'll help you through that one. Okay.
All right. Thank you.
All right, guys, have a good week. And I gotta find out who did over 200 contests this week. Raise your hand. Hey, we got
I
George.
didn't. I owe the group
And-
$500. I owe the group $500. I went under.
Wesley, dude,
Yeah.
don't be giving people away money. But
Yeah, but,
I love that you did that though, Wesley, because guess what? You won't do it again. And if you do it again, you're
Yeah.
done. You continue to do it again, you're done. But you need to continue to push yourself. So I love the guts that you threw that out there to the group. And I hope some of you others will do the same thing, that it forces you to be held accountable or it hurts. Because when you don't hold yourself accountable and it doesn't hurt, you're like, oh crap, I didn't get my numbers. And I don't care if it's 100 contacts. Throw a number out to the group and put a dollar amount on it to where it hurts if you don't get your number. Because when you just say, oh, I want to do this, and then you're okay when you don't do it, you're going to fail every time. Because you set a standard for yourself that it's okay for me not to hit what I say I'm going to do. And when you get used to doing that, you will continue to do it the rest of your life on everything you do.
Just
So on that group text message, you guys blast it out there, what you're going to do, make a commitment, and then own it. Go ahead.
One last thing, guys, I posted this document on the group chat on WhatsApp. It's called the integrity document. I really suggest you read it to keep the word to yourself. It's very powerful. It's really cool. I put it on the chat.
Well, Wesley, thank you for buying lunch for everybody. That was awesome of you. And I hope you will fix that this next week and get out there and get a deal under contract.
Yeah. This goes on the website, right, Duane?
Yeah, throw it right on the WhatsApp app and we'll just cruise from there.
Okay. All right, cool.
Okay, guys. Thanks. Have a good day.
Thanks, Duane.
Yeah, we'll see ya.